Hi, I'm Ron Nesper, Chief Engineer for the carriers at Miller Industries, and today we're going to talk about lubricating your carrier. Shown here is the Century Series 10 aluminum carrier on a Ford Super Duty chassis. We're going to talk about all the lubrication points on this carrier. What we're going to discuss will also apply to Series 12 and 16 carriers, as well as all of the Miller industrial carriers. Every pin and pivot point on this carrier is equipped with a grease fitting to be lubricated. Starting from front to back, let's talk about the bed lock. The bed lock is equipped with a roller, needs to be greased. We want to make sure that the roller rotates freely. The slide rails on a carrier, factory installed units are supplied with a moly grease. Make sure that there's a thin layer of grease on the top side and the bottoms of the slide rails. The tilt cylinders have a grease fitting at the upper end and at the lower end. The slide back cylinder, even though the pin doesn't pivot, we provide a grease fitting so that corrosion won't develop around the pin. So that in the event that you ever need to service a slide back cylinder, if you grease it, you should be able to get the pin out of the cylinder. Both ends of the slide back cylinder are equipped with a grease fitting. Next, we want to talk about the winch shifter linkage for engaging and disengaging the winch free spool. Depending on your winch, you'll have different types of linkages. Make sure that the linkage pivot is greasable with the grease fitting. Next, we want to talk about the subframe hinge pin located at the back of the truck frame. The grease fittings are located underneath on the inside. Next, we want to talk about lubricating the underlift hinge pin, which is shown right here. And while we're here, let's talk about the underlift extension cylinder. At the base end of the extend cylinder, there's also a grease fitting. Even though that pin doesn't pivot, once again, we lubricate it so when you ever have to service that cylinder, the pin can easily be removed. Okay, so we reposition the carrier so we can talk about lubrication of the underlift. We've extended the underlift and lowered it to talk about the pivot points that need lubricated. There's the lift cylinder on the underlift. There's a grease fitting at the lower rod end and also at the upper base end. Also very important, notice that we've extended the wheel lift fully. We do that because there are pads on top of the underlift's inner tube, and when the underlift is fully extended, there are grease fittings located at the end of the outer tube that strategically squirts the grease on top of the inner tube's wear pads. And finally, at the rear end of the carrier, we want to talk about lubricating the wheel lift. Here we have the cam lock for engaging and disengaging the L-arm. This cam lock extends and retracts the wheel grid. And don't forget to lubricate the pivot. We have a video that describes in detail what we want you to know about lubricating the wheel lift pivot. One of the things we want to make sure that you know is that every pin and pivot point on this carrier is equipped with a grease fitting for lubrication. We recommend that the grease being used is a lithium-based extreme pressure grease. Thank you for watching our video. Make sure you subscribe to the news feed on our website to stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Miller Industries.
This video is for product demonstration purposes only and is not intended for training or instructional purposes. Situations vary and operators should rely on their own professional knowledge and safety procedures when conducting actual recoveries.